In the battleground state of North Carolina, every vote counts. But Donald Trump said voters should be concerned about election fraud and should try to vote twice.
Let them send it in and let them go vote. And if their system's as good as they say it is, then obviously they won't be able to vote. If it isn't tabulated, they'll be able to vote. So that's the way it is.
Intentionally voting twice is illegal and is a crime in many states. In North Carolina, it's a felony. Attorney General William P. Barr was asked during a CNN TV interview to respond to Trump's comments. The government's top lawyer said he didn't know the election laws in every state. Barr said widespread vote by mail is very open to fraud and coercion, is reckless and dangerous, and people are playing with fire. According to an analysis by the Washington Post newspaper of 3 vote-by-mail states, officials identified a fraction of 1% as having double voted in the 2016 and 2018 elections combined. In a written memo, Trump went on to threaten to cut funding to cities which he says allow anarchy and violence. He's requested a federal funding review of Portland, Seattle, New York, and Washington, D.C.
It's not legal. It violates the 10th Amendment to the Constitution, and Trump knows that. This is purely political theater.
Whose lives matter? Black lives matter!
The cities in question all have Democratic mayors, and they've all been the scenes of major protests against racism and police brutality.
Why are African Americans still dying at the hands of law enforcement in this country?
And so are white people. So are white people. What a terrible question to ask. So are white people. More white people, by the way. More white people.
Another study by the Washington Post found that Black Americans are killed at a rate more than twice as high as whites. Trump's rival in November's election and the Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden says there's only one way to move forward.
This is not who we are. At her best, America's always been, and if I have anything to do with it, will be again generous, confident, an optimistic nation, full of hope and resolve.
Biden is ahead in several recent national polls following both parties' conventions. Leah Harding, Al Jazeera.
Mike Hanna has more now from Washington.
President Trump says in the memorandum that he wants to review where these funds are going. He says that he does not want taxpayers' money going to funding anarchy, as he puts it. He's asked the federal agencies to report back within 30 days to his budget director to take a look at the budgets with a view to cutting off funding to cities that President Trump says are unable to maintain law and order. Well, the mayor of New York has been very quick to react. Bill de Blasio held an urgent news conference saying that this is nothing more than a political stunt. De Blasio saying that President Trump is not the king, that he has no legal right to stop funding to specific cities. In particular, these cities that he refers to are all run by Democrats. William Barr held an interview with CNN, an exclusive interview, in which he expressed a rather surprising thought that there is no racism in the policing or no attempts at racism within the actions of police. He says that this is a false narrative, that this does occur. This despite statistics that are provided by a number of independent organizations such as universities and news media, which indicate that an African American is 2.5 times more likely to be shot by a policeman than his white counterpart. So certainly the figures would not appear to bear out William Barr's assumption.